I'm scared.
I'm scared. I'm scared.
I'm Scared, a game that released back in 2012 that had everyone's favorite Let's Players screaming.
Oh, Jesus! God!
Or, if that isn't the case, then you probably recognize this mischievous floating head, known as Whiteface. For those of you who are unaware, Whiteface is an entity that resides in I'm Scared, whose sole purpose is to terrorize the player for fun and to live in the player's computer forever. Now what if I told you that that isn't where the story ends? And what if I said that not one, not two, but 4 versions of I'm Scared exist, each with the purpose of expanding I'm Scared's vague story, where each game answers one question, but introduces 20 more? Well, that's where the I'm Scared Iceberg comes in. An iceberg created by Reddit user Prof Random, or Malory Malicious, with the sole intention of explaining every hidden secret and story element, from most known to least known. So sit back, grab a snack, and let's dive into the ultimate I'm Scared Iceberg. Initial 2012 release. I'm Scared released in 2012 by Ivan Zanotti and was made for a mini summer game jam known as Mini Competizione Estiva 2012. According to Ivan, he convinced the host to extend the deadline of the game jam by 2 days, which allowed him more time to perfect the first edition of I'm Scared. My Madness Works. My Madness Works is a developer name for Ivan Zanotti, who has released a total of 16 games under this name. It is also the name of a website hosted by Ivan, which acts as a sort of game dev updates / blog updates for his fans. Through this website, you can find updates on new projects, yearly recaps, and links to other My Madness Works games. YouTube playthroughs. This entry is in reference to the many Let's Plays I'm Scared has on YouTube. There are Let's Plays for the 2012, 2016, and 2022 versions of I'm Scared. However, it's reasonable to believe that Markiplier and PewDiePie's 2012 playthroughs could be attributed to skyrocketing the popularity of I'm Scared into the mainstream. Whiteface. Whiteface is the main antagonist of I'm Scared, and is first encountered behind bars in the basement section. Its appearance is that of a floating head that is completely white, sporting 2 hollow blacked out eyes and a wide, open, toothy grin. This expression remains constant throughout the majority of the game, except for one part at the very end. Whiteface is also theorized to be the identity of another character found later on the iceberg, but we'll get there when we get there. Cameos and references in other dev games. Whiteface has been referenced and made appearances in other games. In Faith Chapter 3, it can be seen on a wall with W.D. Gasser from Undertale and Uboa from Yume Nikki. In Lost in Vivo, during the sewer section, a painting of Whiteface can be found on top of a My Madness Works logos. In Cooking Companions, Whiteface can be seen for a brief moment when playing through Nightmare mode, with the text, "You wake up in a cold sweat," accompanying it. Behind Whiteface is the noose and chair from the main game. Lastly, Whiteface is featured as a monster in Spooky's Jumpscare Mansion's Endless mode, under the name Unknown Specimen 1. When active, it will chase the player down at high speeds, and if killed by Whiteface, the player will be brought to the room with a chair and noose, and this exchange will happen. After typing the word open in the pop-up prompt, the player is spawned in a fleshy room similar to I'm Scared and must run away from Whiteface once again. If the player manages to get away, they are granted a second chance at life. Made in Game Maker. Every version of I'm Scared is made using Game Maker. I'm Scared 2012 was made using Game Maker 8. I'm Scared Workshop Edition and the 2016 Steam Edition used Game Maker Studio, and the 2022 test build and 2022 remaster used Game Maker Studio 2. This is an impressive feat, considering that GameMaker is used to primarily create 2D games, with some notable examples being Shovel Knight and Undertale. While you can create 3D games, it's rather hard due to things such as lighting, animation, rigging, and collision detection only being accessible through low-level functions, which basically means you can do a bare-bones creation. But when it comes to more in-depth 3D elements, you'll either end up looking at a guide or manually tweaking everything yourself. File manipulation. One of, if not the biggest gaming mechanics in IMSCARED is its use of file manipulation. Throughout all playthroughs, Whiteface and other entities will communicate to the player through the local files of the game, adding things such as text documents, images, secret codes, websites, and all sorts of things. These interactions are both a means of progressing the game and a form of self-awareness, as through these file manipulations, the game proves that it is aware of being played, and will thus play back. Workshop Edition. IMSCARED Workshop Edition is a playable demo which was released while the 2016 version of the game was on Steam Greenlight. This version introduces new settings, such as the Parlor and Cellar, as well as a new antagonist known as Her, who stalks and chases you throughout your playthrough. We'll go more in depth on Her later in the Iceberg. 2016 Full Game. This is the complete version of IMSCARED, which combines both the 2012 and Workshop editions of the game. This version added 10 additional locations, new entities, lore, and 3 additional endings. Collapse Collide. This is another game created by My Madness Works that was created in 4 days. Collapse Collide is, in Ivan's own words, a short, simple game about life. It's on this iceberg for housing a cheeky I'm Scared mini level as an Easter egg. This level is a 2D version of the beginning section of I'm Scared, specifically the begin and basement sections, which require you to collect a key in the starting room, then escaping Whiteface in a fleshy room similar to the main game. Ivan's Whiteface cosplay. Ivan, along with his fiancée, are known for cosplaying as Whiteface and Her. Ivan's costume consists of a whiteface mask, a dark hooded cloak, black gloves, and a noose, while his fiancée's costume consists of a similar black cloak, white gloves, the same noose, and face paint used to recreate Her's face. Ivan's Patreon. Ivan has a Patreon known as My Madness Works, which is used as a means to fund game production. Supporters of the Patreon get access to a variety of perks, which consist of things such as old unreleased games, access to new games early, sneak peeks, teasers, and test builds of upcoming projects, supporter names and credits, and much more. Ladder Jump Scare. When interacting with the ladder in the beginning section of the game, it cuts to a black screen and a loud ladder descending sound is played. Many players are jump scared by the sudden sound.
Ah! Oh. I'm just going down the ladder.
Discord server. There is an official I'm Scared Discord server. Here, you can interact/receive help from other I'm Scared fans, theorycraft, and submit fan art and mods. It's a very nice and welcoming community. There is also a My Madness Works Discord owned by Ivan, which features Patreon exclusive channels for those that are subscribed. A link to both of these servers will be included in the description. Interviews. Ivan has participated in many interviews from community members. One notable interview done by Malory Malicious has Ivan go into detail on his process behind game development, advice for new game developers, his inspirations, concept art, and reference sheets for characters, as well as bits and pieces of hints towards solving the story of I'm Scared. Speedruns. Like all games, I'm Scared has a speedrun community. I'm Scared speedruns consist of 4 main categories, those being 100%, with the record held by Zassafras with a time of 15:59, any percent, also held by Zassafras with a time of 14:21, 2022 100%, held by ECAPS with a time of 21:01, and 2022 any percent, held by Zolly with a time of 19:49. Turning an entity into data. This is a recurring phrase in I'm Scared found throughout all versions. My interpretation of the saying is that you can essentially take an entity, be that a ghost or spirit, and turn it into data, that of which can be transferred and hidden in game code. This could provide an explanation for how Whiteface became trapped in I'm Scared, and why removing him rids the game of all creepy factors and hauntings. However, the only thing missing is how exactly you transfer and convert an entity into data. Whiteface spin. In the original 2012 release, after the first fake-out ending, when the player spawns trapped in a cage, Whiteface would spin around the cage. This would later be removed in the 2016 and 2022 versions of I'm Scared, and replaced with 4 stationary white faces around the cage. Some feel that the spinning added a whimsical and joyful element to Whiteface, while the stagnant nature of Whiteface in the newer versions gives it a more intimidating demeanor. Bonus fact, if you look up in the 2016 version, you can see the not to see her hanging above you. The Flower. The Flower is a collectible that appears at the beginning and end sections of I'm Scared 2016 and 2022. While its symbolism isn't entirely clear, some players interpret the flower to signify that Whiteface cares about the player in its own sick, twisted way. Perhaps Whiteface could be scaring the player for fun, as it sees the game they play as a form of amusement, and having the flower shared between them could signify that Whiteface means no harm. But that's just my take on it. Additionally, if you like how the flower looks, according to Ivan, the closest flower related to it is the begonia flower. So, if you like flowers and are an I'm Scared fan, they're out there for you to grow. Portrait in multiple games. The blonde woman painting found in the basement has appeared in other My Madness Works games, such as Nothing Else, Discomfort, Quiet Manor, Fortress, and Collapse Collide. While the significance of the painting is unclear, it's a nice Easter egg that spans across a lot of Ivan's works. Pixelated Nightmare. This is the subtext used for the 2012 Game Jolt release of I'm Scared. Later, in the full release, it is considered to be the name of the first chapter in I'm Scared, which spans from the first boot up of I'm Scared all the way to the Her section in the parlor. Whiteface voice / singing. Whiteface has a voice, although it's sparsely heard. In-game, he marks his presence with a laugh. In the Steam Greenlight trailer, he can be heard speaking to the player near the end of the video.
I suppose you're satisfied.
Finally, he can be heard singing a version of the main piano theme. Main melody. This is a melody that exists throughout all versions of I'm Scared. In the 2012 version, it's the song Whiteface sings during the house section, while on every version after, it can be heard on the game's title screen and the credits for the Bury Her section. Inspired content, mods, and fan games. I'm Scared has gone on to inspire many different types of media, with simple mods that retexture stuff or change the dialogue of the game in numerous ways, to more complex mods like I'm Evil, which adds a third-person camera to I'm Scared to give it a Resident Evil-like vibe. I'm Scared's meta elements have inspired the creation of other eerie games, with Doom.exe and Faith being two notable examples. Doom.exe takes place in a 3D environment, with a black sun watching over your every move, while Faith takes place in a 2D environment, while encountering unsettling creatures similar to that of Her and Whiteface. One of them is lying. This message can be found at the end of the street level behind a locked gate. It's not entirely clear as to who this message is referring to, but one theory suggests that this message could be alluding to the Labyrinth section of I'm Scared, in which you acquire 2 maps that lead you to a secret, with one of the maps leading you to nothing. Mysterious footsteps. In the house section, after opening door 8 and encountering Whiteface, footsteps in the distance can be heard. It's unclear as to who these footsteps belong to. YouTube links. During all playthroughs, I'm Scared will open links to unlisted YouTube videos, with most videos containing hints and clues used to progress through the game. The name of the channel that hosts these videos is called Bury Her, whose importance will be touched on later. False endings. I'm Scared has 4 endings, with 3 of these labeled as false endings. These false endings are created by Whiteface as a means to trick the player into keeping I'm Scared installed in their computer, thus keeping Whiteface connected to the player forever. True ending. This is in reference to the final ending of I'm Scared, which is accessed after inputting Ivan Zanotti into the What is my name prompt. This ending requires a lot of game resetting in the first section, and a few puzzles. At the end, you can find a door, a flower, and a sign. The sign reads, "Welcome to the door. This is your last choice. If you enter this door, my game will end for real. Please, please, please pick up the flower and give it to me. I will reset everything we did until now." If you give the flower to Whiteface, he'll respond with, "So kind," and ask you to play with him forever, then closes the game and resets you back to the parlor, but not before leaving the player with the message, "I love you." If you walk through the door, you are greeted by Final Begin, the actual final section of I'm Scared. In this area, Whiteface will take his anger out on you time and time again, constantly closing the game and jump scaring the player. Eventually, Whiteface's heart will be exposed in both the game and in the files. Removing the heart will remove Whiteface from the game forever. A profitable entry. This is a quote made by a certain character mentioned later on in the Iceberg. This term is also used by Ivan and fans as a joke/hope for the future of the I'm Scared series. Achievements. There are 11 achievements in I'm Scared that appear in the game as Steam achievements. 10 of these are required to achieve the true ending. Along with these achievements are fake ones, such as Don't Touch Me and Close Here, which appear in the parlor for story purposes. Take me to the door. Another term that can be entered in the What is my name screen. This term is found after completing all puzzles in the market section of Chapter 3. When using the computer, you'll be sent a file called Enter a Great Place, which contains 26 files with 1 random letter. At the bottom of the folder, a text document which contains a link will lead you to an unlisted YouTube video. This video contains a disturbing version of her, as well as numbers that flash on screen throughout the video. The numbers that flash on screen, when matched with the numbered folders, spell out the phrase, "Take me to the door." Heaven's Door. In the latter half of the house level, there is a door that vanishes and is replaced with a wall with a trail of blood leading to it. If the player interacts with the wall a few times, they get the achievement Heaven's Door. Helpful messages. During your playthrough of I'm Scared, you'll find messages both inside and outside the game that give you helpful advice on how to survive. Most of these messages, written in the form of notepad documents, contain hints and clues on how to progress through I'm Scared's various puzzles and monsters. It's commonly believed to be an in-game version of I'm Scared's developer, Ivan Zanotti, leaving these messages to help the player defeat Whiteface. White.ini. This INI file works as the game's save data. It keeps track of achievements, chapter progression, and what room you're currently in. Since it is a glorified note document, it's easy to modify and exploit, allowing players to explore the world of I'm Scared in unintended ways. Bury Her. Bury Her is in reference to 2 things. The first being, Bury Her is Chapter 2 of I'm Scared Steam Edition, following A Pixelated Nightmare. Bury Her replaces the A Pixelated Nightmare subtext after completing the first fake ending. This section also introduces a new character known as Her. Secondly, Bury Her is the name of the YouTube channel that hosts all listed and unlisted videos that pop up during playthroughs of I'm Scared. Her. Her is the second antagonist of I'm Scared. She appears to be a white, lanky figure with long black hair, a face structure similar to Whiteface, although sometimes she can be seen with a hollow smile with black liquid dripping out of it. Along with this, a more distorted version of her can be found in the video A Lot of Nothing, where her limbs appear to be fragmented or distorted. Shadow Labyrinth. When traversing through the Labyrinth maze, you can come across many different statues. When interacting with them, you are transported to a shadow version of the labyrinth. In this shadow version, you can access locked off areas of the map which can allow you to find the mirror pieces needed to progress through the maze. Another fun fact about the Shadow Labyrinth is that you can access it early by heading to this spot in the maze and interacting with this being. When doing so, you are trapped in a cage with the being. Stay there long enough and you'll unlock the Thanks for Staying achievement. Corrupted Sign. After leaving the labyrinth, if you decide to head back out instead of progressing, the sign will have changed to a corrupted version of the final choice sign found at the end of the game. A very interesting piece of foreshadowing that most players probably missed on their first playthroughs. Whiteface's many forms. Whiteface is known as a phantom of deception. The game states at the end of the first vault ending that it is changing again. What form will it take? When starting Chapter 2 and encountering her, many believe her to be the new form that Whiteface takes in order to continue stalking the player. Trans. Since Whiteface is interpreted as a guy, while also somewhat being non-binary due to commonly being referred to as it in-game, and her's appearance is very feminine, some fans of the game have joked about Whiteface being transgender. While there is no confirmation as to whether this theory is canon, there have been individuals who have seen Whiteface's transformation as a way for them to realize who they truly are, and that is both special and important. This has also led to some instances of transphobia towards the game, one funny example being this, left on Ivan's Tumblr.
Whiteface is a boy. Why the hell did someone feel the need to fuck up a perfect game? I love Whiteface and I'm scared, but now Whiteface is this woman? Her? No way. Whiteface will always be a boy to me. This new Whiteface and I'm Scared update can get the fuck out.
Other entities. Whiteface and her are not the only entities to exist in IMSCARED's universe. The secret entity found in the labyrinth, the statues, and the creatures during the station segments are other beings found throughout your playthroughs. They seem to be trapped though, unable to do or say anything, unlike Whiteface and her. Mirror code references. The mirror code list, found after finding all mirror pieces in the labyrinth maze, contains over 100 different phrases and combinations. Hidden inside of some of these combinations are references to other pieces of media. Some notable references are Pose with Your Brother, Won't You Be a Good Sister, which are lyrics from the song Dollhouse by Melanie Martinez. Buy Gold, The Universe is a Hologram, phrases said by Bill Cipher from Gravity Falls. Never Gonna Give You Up, which is clearly a Rick Roll reference. And You Tried So Hard and Got So Far, lyrics from the song In the End by Linkin Park. Where was she pointing at? In the Workshop Edition, after encountering her while walking down the looping hallway, if you decide to open the door at the end of the hall again, you'll be greeted with the message, What was she pointing at? An obvious hint to whoever's playing the game to go check out the wall her was pointing to. Quiet. In the parlor, a sign reading Please be quiet is one of the first things you come across. If you decide to ignore this warning and begin running, an image of what appears to be a red her with the text Quiet, I said, will appear on screen for a moment. If you decide to run after encountering the second warning, she'll jump scare the player and crash the game. Locked gate. There is a locked gate in the labyrinth that prevents the player from getting back into the basement. However, the process to unlock it doesn't require just a normal key found in the map. Instead, you need to go to the game's files after getting the key and look for a file called lock.txt. After finding it, all you need to do is either rename or delete the file, and the gate from before will be unlocked. Creda ending. Creta is another My Madness Works game, which follows a man investigating a mysterious new room added to their home without their knowledge. Creta is on this iceberg due to its connection to IMSCARED, specifically in the game's final ending. After navigating through a seemingly endless void, you'll come across a door that leads you to a black void. After wandering the black void for long enough, you'll come across another door, which opens to reveal the starting room from IMSCARED known as Begin. Why Begin is in Creta, or what it has to do with Creta's good ending, is currently unknown. Gramophones. When traversing through the stage known as Station, you'll come across another maze room, with your objective being to turn off 3 gramophones, or 4 in the 2022 remaster, while avoiding her as she roams the maze. They also play this sick little tune while searching for them. Unfinished 2016 demo, scrapped debug menu. During the development of IMSCARED Steam Edition, there was originally going to be a demo that would include a debug menu that would have allowed you to explore the rooms and levels in any order. However, both would be scrapped during development, with remnants of the debug menu remaining inside of IMSCARED 2016's game files. Whiteface's eye. During the concept phase of Whiteface's creation, he originally had eyes in his character design. While this version of Whiteface did not appear in the final game, the sprite can be seen during the final ending of the game, when Whiteface attacks the player during his glitched state. Whiteface's brother. During Chapter 3 in the Market section, a file will be added to your desktop data known as Layer. Opening the text document in the folder reveals a story told to us from presumably Whiteface. I want to draw attention to the first part, which reads as follows. The curtain falls. I want to share a story with you. I'd never had a chance to be a child, but when I was a child, I always thought about awful things. One day, my brother went to an appliance store, leaving me in the backseat of the car. I looked at him entering the store, disappearing behind sliding doors. Then my head drew scenery. Oh no! My brother got impaled by some sort of electrical appliance. There's blood everywhere. What should I do now? Truth is, I never had a brother. There have also been some discussions of
Whiteface's
brother on his Tumblr, where Ivan states he studied art and passed away too soon, yet also unsure if he even existed in the first place.
Restorer. The Restorer is an entity found in both the test and full versions of IMSCARED 2022. She is a white humanoid character who sports a black blazer and maintains a cheery expression throughout all conversations with the player. Her role in the story is that of an IMSCARED fan who plans to remake IMSCARED, port it to other platforms such as console and mobile, and create a sequel to IMSCARED, all in the hopes of bringing more popularity to the game and profiting off its success.
And she is such a
Loneliness. Loneliness is considered to be the post-game chapter of IMSCARED. In this chapter, Whiteface, along with all the horror associated with him, is gone, leaving the player to wander the now empty halls alone, just as Whiteface himself did before. Real locations. Some of the levels you explore are based off of real locations in Ivan's life. The house was the childhood home that he grew up in. The market was a real store he used to work at. Along with these is an image of the archive, which was posted to Twitter early as an early celebration for IMSCARED's 20th anniversary. Patreon page found early. Before Ivan announced their Patreon, it was accidentally discovered through a Google search when searching for My Madness Works, where it would show up along with Ivan's other websites. Steam background. If you were to navigate to the community section for the Steam release of IMSCARED, you can see what appears to be Restorer in the background, just staring at you. Restorer's Whiteface pin. If you were to look at the top of Restorer's jacket, you can see what looks to be a collection of white pixels. These pixels are actually a pin of Whiteface. With this being found on her person, It's safe to say that Restorer is a bona fide IMSCARED fan. The Moon. The Moon is a big focus point in all of Ivan's games, with IMSCARED's newest content in the post-game having a specific emphasis on the Moon. However, like a lot of cryptic things in the game, the role the Moon plays in IMSCARED's story is currently unknown. Hopefully, when IMSCARED's sequel comes out, fans will find the answers they've been looking for. Whiteface in Workshop. In the Workshop edition of IMSCARED, while running away from her at the end of the game, if you look to your right while in the green room, you'll spot Whiteface behind some bars, and with him is the chair and noose from the first game. He can also be seen behind another set of bars during this chase as well. These are the only 2 cameos Whiteface makes in the Workshop edition. Faceless Her. During Chapter 3 in the Pipes section, when looking through the fan after collecting the right valve, a very short cutscene will play, which depicts a bloodied and faceless her in a snowy environment. She'll approach the player for a few seconds before the player is sent back to the pipes. Remnants. This is the upcoming sequel to IMSCARED, which is slated to release at some point in the future. It's unknown when exactly, but it's theorized to be sometime in the winter of this year. Not much is known about it, outside of the teasers discovered from the post-game portion of IMSCARED, which will be touched on later in the Iceberg. Ports. There are currently plans to port IMSCARED to console and mobile. There was going to be a Switch port, but Nintendo apparently denied the proposal. However, there are hopes that they may change their mind later on down the line. To add to the console ports, the fourth wall breaks and meta horror moments will be reworked to fit better on consoles, with hopes of better immersing the player. The goal is for the player to feel as though the console itself is cursed, and not like they are just playing the PC version pasted onto a different platform. 2022 Test Build. Released on Ivan's birthday, this was a beta build that was created before the 2022 remake was finished. The purpose of this build was to test mechanics and gather feedback from the community, which could be used to improve the final version. The test build also contained a new unlisted video containing a code which took you to a new area in the postgame. The Archive. The Archive, also known as the Avalon, is a new area added in both the test build and 2022 remaster. This area acts as a sort of museum, which houses various pieces of content from the game, both used and unused. In the 2022 remake, Restorer leads you to the well to fill you in on her master plan to skyrocket IMSCARED into the mainstream. Something interesting to note is that the test build's archive is full of objects and assets, while the remake's version of the archive is completely empty upon first entering. Anniversary Update Remake Differences. On the 10th anniversary of IMSCARED, Ivan would remake/update the entire game as a means of celebration. This version, dubbed the 2022 remaster, would improve the resolution, textures, and scenery of IMSCARED, while implementing new quality of life features, such as volume, graphic, and sound control. TikTok account. Toward the tail end of an interview with Ivan Zanotti and Malory Malicious, Ivan mentions that the community should try to look around for a certain TikTok account. When fans looked into this claim, it was discovered that the Restorer herself had an account on the site. Her TikTok contains videos showing teasers before the release of the 2022 remaster, and later would contain creepy videos which teased the October 2023 update. Restorer in the Discord. One of the Restorer's TikTok videos show her scrolling through the IMSCARED Discord, showing off different channels and fan art, with the caption saying, "Dad, I'm famous." Fans theorize that, since she was able to capture footage, she must be hidden somewhere in the server, watching them. Rap battles. There exist videos online which depict Whiteface engaging in rap battles with other famous horror characters, some making sense, like Monica from Doki Doki Literature Club.
This room is so cold, but my rhymes are so infernal. Blue screen that window, make your suffering eternal. Many hate anime, and some are quite confused, but I'll be over here. Looking right at you.
That blow is more repetitive than your gramophone, but writing-wise, you could really use a visit to my literature club. I mean, mashing terms together and you pass that off as elegant. Man, the one thing harder to name than you is you're irrelevant.
Others, not so much.
Rap. Battle. White face versus troll.
Yeah, that's enough. Whiteface is dead. When encountering Restorer for the first time in the post-game, she mentions how it's been a very long time since Whiteface died, which confirms that you truly killed him off when you removed the heart text file at the end of the base game. Peepers. This is a nickname Ivan gives to those who comb through IMSCARED's game files to search for secrets, dubbed peeping. VIPs and workers. When talking with the Restorer in the archive, she asks you 2 questions right before she disappears. Would you like to scare or to be scared? If you answer the former, you'll be given the worker card, and if you answer the latter, you'll be given the VIP pass. While the purpose of these cards is currently unclear, it could be assumed that these cards could have something to do with the upcoming Remnant sequel, potentially allowing owners of each card to have access to certain content. Castle Kid / Mooney. Castle Kid is an entity found in the 2022 test build. You can encounter him after hearing footsteps in the house level. You can also find him at the end of the Loneliness post-game. After completing the blind maze, you're greeted by this image of him. His appearance is that of a distorted white face, with additional eyes added to the right side of his face. Some fans have given him the nickname Mooney, due to his close proximity to the moons. Additionally, every time he shows up, the sound of a cat can be heard, which has led some theorizing that he may be Restorer's cat, who may have been used on a test when learning how to turn an entity into data. You shouldn't be here signs. There are signs that appear when the player accesses areas or levels they aren't meant to be in. This sign is also found in the Not to See room, which is a room that has a 50% chance of appearing when spawning into the house area during the Whiteface section of the game. Unlike other rooms, the player is meant to encounter the sign during this section. Bald Her 2016. In the 2016 version of the Labyrinth, the her that peeks around the corner in the maze is bald, whereas the her in the 2022 remake is not. Her's true origins. Her's origins do not originate from IMSCARED, as she was originally going to star in 2 games of her own. The first would be Nothing Else Chapter 2, where she would go by the name Penelope, but that chapter would end up being cancelled. Her next planned appearance would be in a game known as Bury Her, but after a few months of development, Ivan realized how similar it was to IMSCARED, and would decide to rework Bury Her into the Workshop Edition, thus introducing the her we all know and love. Not to See exit. When scouring through the game files, it was discovered that at one point, the player would be able to use the exit door seen in Not to See to leave the room after unlocking the Not to See achievement. It's unknown as to why this was scrapped. Original Android port. After the 2012 release, Ivan began work on an Android port of IMSCARED. The progress of this port could be found on his Twitter, YouTube, and DeviantArt, where he provided gameplay and screenshots of the development process. Ultimately though, the port never went anywhere. The meat's arm. The texture for the slab of meat hanging in the fridge of the market has what appears to be an arm fitted inside of it. It's unknown as to who this arm belongs to, or if it's just a silly Easter egg for peepers to find. 2012 short film. There is an IMSCARED short film that resides on a channel known as Creepypasta Stuff. Supposedly, this channel is run by Ivan, which makes the short film hosted on the channel an official piece of IMSCARED content. I'll have the video linked below if you want to check it out. Remnants Earth. In a hidden video that appears in the 2022 test build, this phrase is shown at the end of the video. The last 2 words used are Remnants Earth. Since it's a phrase used in the post-game of IMSCARED, it's safe to assume we'll come to understand what Remnants Earth is when the Remnant sequel comes out. Hidden maps in game files. In every version of I'm Scared, there are hidden maps in the game's files. These maps range from test rooms, unused areas, and potential upcoming areas that we may see in the future. 2. Hers. While it's confirmed that Whiteface and her are the same person, some theorize that the her that Whiteface possesses is not the true her, but a copy of her's body, which she uses to continue haunting the player. The Curse. Whiteface's curse is timeless, in the sense that it follows you throughout all builds of the game. While Whiteface plays with you, haunts you, and torments you, Whiteface is also cursed to forever be trapped within I'm Scared. Basement Clock. Originally in the 2016 version, there was going to be a clock in the basement. When this clock hit a certain time, it would open up and reveal a hidden door that gave access to an unused area. However, it too ended up being cut from the final release. Secret Keyboard Effects. In I'm Scared 2016, some keys on your keyboard can trigger some effects in the game. For instance, in Pipe B, or the second valve location, if you push 4, the Whiteface paintings will vanish. And if you push 5, the words "You can't run" will appear on the screen. Official ARG. Following the October 2023 update for I'm Scared, players discovered new clues and conversations from Restorer that hinted at additional hidden content. While I won't give away the entirety of the ARG steps, it begins when you encounter a faceless Restorer in the Labyrinth. Upon interacting with her, she'll crash your game and give you a link to an unlisted YouTube video with the message, "Get back to the archive." From there, the ARG begins, with things like QR codes, spectrograms, secret codes, and hidden files needing to be discovered in order to progress the story. Penelope does not exist. Firstly, this is the community-given name of the ARG that was introduced during the October 2023 update. Secondly, this is the password that was used to access the locked itch.io page, which gave you access to files used to progress through the 2023 ARG. According to community members, they tried a variety of different password combinations to get into the page before using this password. And when they finally cracked it, they were embarrassed by how obvious the password was in hindsight. Sofa_interact. In earlier versions of the 2022 remake, there was leftover code that revealed an unused secret in-house. This code was attached to a couch, and when interacting with it, a part of the balcony would lose collision and would allow you to walk through and head towards the sky located out of bounds. It's unknown as to what purpose this could have served in the story, as it was never properly added. Access prohibited. This is the name of the itch.io page that is accessed after inputting the password "Penelope does not exist." This page contains 4 locked zip files that contain video teasers, as well as 2 files used to access the final portion of the ARG, which is called The Blind Game. This is the final section of the 2023 ARG, and is accessed after placing the attraction.win file in the branch folder and the gamechanger.txt file into the main desktop file. Upon doing so, this will unlock a door in the archive which takes you to a blind minigame. The goal of this minigame is to navigate and solve 3 puzzles in 3 different areas, while being unable to see anything. Upon completion of a puzzle, you'll be given 1 of 3 codes. These codes are used to unlock the zip files mentioned earlier, and each zip file contains a teaser for Remnants, the upcoming I'm Scared sequel. Horror Tale. The file where the Workshop Edition stores its save data is called Horror Tale, for some reason. Just a weird thing some peepers found. Labyrinth Restorer. The Restorer can be found out of bounds in 2 separate instances in the Labyrinth. The first one is found in the Labyrinth in the postgame. When interacting with her, she crashes your game and gives you a YouTube URL that kickstarts the ARG mentioned before. The second one, discovered by Malory Malicious, is found right across from where the mirror is facing, and, well, her reaction says it all.
Okay, so I just found this. I'm messing around with the, exploring the different maps via the white.ini file. I just found that and was like, what? And then I interacted with it and I think I just nearly had a fucking heart attack.
John Scared. This was a joke character created by members of the IMSCARED Discord and was given life by Ivan, who drew an image of John Scared on the balcony with her and passed it off as if John Scared was actually in the game. I also took Penelope. This is one of the final lines said by the Restorer in the 2023 update. If you go back to the basement and head to the end of the hallway after receiving Restorer's final message, you'll notice that the portrait of the blonde woman is now missing. Penelope help me. If you mess with the white.ini file in IMSCARED post 2023 update, you'll discover a secret version of the house level. All the doors in this level are locked except for one. Opening this door will trigger an error message, which depicts the Restorer in a distressed state. You can briefly see Castle Kid with Restorer, but he appears to be glitched out or barely holding on. Some speculate on Castle Kid's state, suggesting his distorted state could be due to him being outside of the test build, due to a secret message found hidden in the game files. The attraction. This is a black smudge located outside of the balcony when exploring the house with the Restorer. When holding a worker card, she'll take you to that spot, and it's revealed to be nothing more than a black textured amalgamation. However, if you're a VIP, she won't bring you there. Restorer hints that the attraction will play into her 3-part plan, but what part the attraction will play is currently unclear. Get out. This is an out-of-bounds secret found in the Loneliness postgame. If you manipulate the game's files to somehow clip out of house and attempt to head to the attraction, while also having a VIP and worker card simultaneously, a static screen will appear covering the entire screen, and the words "Get Out" will appear if you try to pause the game. IMSCARED VR campaign. In 2013, an Indiegogo campaign was created with the hopes of porting IMSCARED to VR via the Oculus Rift. Backers of the campaign would be granted custom portraits that would be placed in the game, as well as being allowed to map out a level of their own. Unfortunately, the campaign never reached its goal of $500, only reaching an amount of $255. Because of this, the VR version was never created, though Ivan has talked about wanting to make it someday if he has time. The main requirement, though, is switching the game's engine from GameMaker to Unity. IMSCARED V2. This would have been the non-VR variant of IMSCARED. However, Ivan has never disclosed what this version of IMSCARED would have contained. What we do know is that if this version came out, we would have never gotten characters such as Restorer or Her. Corrupted Archive. In the 2022 test build, if you copy the location code from the white.ini file while in the archive, then paste that into the white.ini file of the 2022 remaster, you'll be transported to a corrupted version of the archive. This archive is empty, broken, and has scattered textures all over its interior. You obtained her arms. If you mess with the white.ini file while in the 2016 version, you can discover a room with floating white arms, along with the message, "You obtained her arms." This is a leftover of the scrapped Bury Her game, where your goal would have been to collect Her's body parts to then bury them at the end of the game. You can also find Her's arms in the test build archive. Unmade 2016 merch. Ivan has stated that after the 2016 release of IMSCARED, a company reached out to him via email with the goal of producing merch for the game. However, nothing came out of this interaction, as Ivan claims he can't even remember the name of the company that reached out to him. Her face in 2016 Labyrinth. In the original 2016 release, when traversing through the labyrinth, you could come across a floating Her head with a similar look to that of the quiet jump scare. When you attempt to approach the head, it vanishes. Pitched movie. Ivan stated that he once received an email from the director of the 1999 Power Rangers film with the intention of turning I'm Scared into a film, as he had seen his nephews play his game and figured it could make for a good escape room movie. Shortly after receiving this message from the director, he came to the realization that I'm Scared wasn't popular enough for a movie, and quickly changed his mind. How to play I'm Scared 3 out of 3. There is no part 3 of how to play I'm Scared. Many players speculate on its existence, with some wondering what the video could even contain. I personally believe that this video could be referenced in the upcoming Remnant sequel, potentially as an Easter egg, but we'll just have to wait and see. Calm Time Painting. In the game Calm Time on the second floor, you can spot what appears to be a painting that looks very similar to Whiteface. The difference being that this painting looks like a much more alive Whiteface, with the main giveaway being the trickle of blood coming from the left eye, similar to the cracks on Whiteface's face. Faceless Whiteface. Found in the files of the 2022 remaster, there is an unused sprite of Whiteface, with a gaping hole in his face, similar to that of her and Restorer. It's very unnerving indeed. Cardboard cutout. Someone made a cutout of the Restorer and claims that she watches over them while they sleep. Okay. 2012 is malicious. The 2012 version of I'm Scared is known for being very buggy, and due to the game's use of file manipulation, it's often detected as a virus on most systems. There was once an incident where the game remained open as someone was shutting down their PC. Take a look for yourself.
Okay, so I'm trying to play the original I'm Scared, right? But, something's a bit broken. I can't move. I mean, I can look around. Whiteface keeps going, I'm suffering, and then laughing, and the ground vanishes. But I literally, try as I might, I can't move, and I can't exit the game either. And when I try and do this, oh no, my mouse is stuck. Okay, I was just able to do it via, tab and using these, but jeez, this is terrifying.
Hey, if you made it to the end of the video, I just want to say thank you. I really hope you enjoy watching, and your support means so much to me. Secondly, I would like to give a huge shout out to Malory Malicious. Without her help, this video would have taken twice as long to come out. She made sure to fact check and correct anything I missed, provided me footage and screenshots, and even created the awesome ass thumbnail for this video. I can't thank you enough, Malory. A link to her channel and other socials will be posted down in the description, along with the I'm Scared Discord and Ivan's Patreon. Finally, I want to thank you. The insane amount of support I've gotten on my last video was so unexpected, and I am forever grateful. I have a lot of content I want to create, and with your support, this will help my dreams become a reality. Alright, enough of the sappy shit. Join my Discord if you want to interact with me, other community members, and recommend me video ideas. Until next time, peace.